Hey guys, are you a married man? Or are you a father to daughters? Or maybe you're a grandpa to granddaughters? What can you say to call out the femininity of the women that are in your life? Today we will show you how to play a role in calling out that femininity in your wife, in your daughters, and your granddaughters. Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. I'm Jim Ramos, host and guide of today's #1 podcast for Christian men, helping you become the best version of you inside the stress bubble of life and beyond. Man, if you get this right, everyone around you will win. So today I want to jump in, guys, to the meat of this podcast. It's something I've discovered in the last probably 5 years, 6 years, and I want to pass it on to you. And some of this stuff I've taken out of my friend Gordon Dalby's book, Healing the Masculine Soul. And in that book, he talks about the responsibility that we have for those women in our lives. And you know, guys, listen, your daughters should have no daddy issues, because you've been in their life. That is your job. Your job, your role, the mantle that God has called you to carry is to make sure that you are raising up women. Your wife is a warrior queen. Your daughters are warrior princesses. Your granddaughters are warrior duchesses. That you are raising up these women of strength and power and dignity, women who see their value and recognize how they have a unique gift to this world. And so that is your job. Essentially, your job is to affirm and protect their femininity. So I got to tell you, I raised 3 sons. I've got a beautiful wife that in my phone, her name in my phone is the Queen. I've got a beautiful 7-year-old granddaughter. I've got 2 beautiful daughters in love. They aren't daughters-in-law because they're under covenant. They're daughters in love. And I'm learning a lot about these 3 new additions to my family in the last 5 years, and I want to pass them on to you. But here's what I want to share with you, and this is really interesting in Gordon Dalby's book, that the role, the mantle that God has given to pass, to call the femininity, to affirm the femininity in the women in our lives, that role is something that only a man can do. I want you to hear me here. The role of calling the femininity out of the women in your life is something only a man can do. So if you are not the one who is doing it, they are going to get it somewhere else. If your 16-year-old daughter is not having her femininity affirmed by you, she will have it affirmed by some 16-year-old kid who wakes up with an erection every morning. Is that what you want on your conscience? I didn't think so. Neither did I, and I apologize for the horrible word picture. But this is a job that only you can do, guys, so I want you to know that. And that is a scary truth. If you don't, then who will? So here's the problem, guys, and I mentioned this earlier. And Dalby, in his book, said this is a problem, that men don't know how to do this. We don't naturally, as men, know how to call the femininity out of women. Now, we may have learned some of that being a husband, but what Dalby writes in his book is that we really need our wives to affirm and to help us to affirm our daughter's femininity and our granddaughter's femininity. So we need our wives to help us. We need our wives to guide us, to direct us, but ultimately they will not receive that affirmation of their femininity from your wife, their mother. They will receive it from you, and that is the problem. You have to learn how to do this. I recommend listening to our 2 podcasts with Michelle Watson Canfield on being a dad whisperer. You know, that would be a great resource for you. But and again, it's a woman helping men call out the femininity in other women, right? So that's what we're talking about. So here are 5 things that you need to affirm in your daughter, in your wife, and in your granddaughters. 5 things. Here we go. Ready? First thing is you need to affirm her uniqueness as a woman that God made and broke the mold when he made her. That is your job. She is unique. She is special. There was no one like her. That's why whenever my granddaughter walks in the room, I just say the princess has arrived. And what she's hearing is there is no one like her in the world. In fact, when she really wants some, she'll say, Papa, remember you said that you would do this for the princess. So, I mean, she is really milking that one for all it's worth, right? But to really affirm that my daughters in love are God's unique creation that are so desperately needed by this world. Number two, and this maybe could be number one, but you need to affirm her beauty. You need to affirm how beautiful she is. And man, and listen, guys, when I say affirm, realize that's probably a wrong way of putting it. Let me give you a correct way. You need to keep affirming her beauty. Every time, I had a dad recently tell me, yeah, you told me to tell my daughter she's beautiful and all this, and I never even thought of that before, and she's 7, and I started doing that, and no, she's 9, and he said, I started doing that, and it's just changed everything. Her whole life lit up, and I'm like, yes, our women need to know they're beautiful, that God did not mess up. Because when a woman, this is, guys, you don't know this, but when a man looks in the mirror, he goes, oh, I got a pimple there. I forgot to shave here. We don't look in the mirror and, it's pretty utilitarian. But when a woman looks in the mirror, all she does is see the flaws and the ugliness in her face or in her body. And it's our job as men to speak truth over that lie and to do it every day of their lives. I mean, I'm telling you, it's work. Number 2, affirm her strength. And I have said this, and I will say this. I have women ask me this all the time. Well, you're a men's minister. Are you you've got deer hanging over here. You've got trophies over here. You've got helmets over here. Are you this macho man guy? No. Listen, well, you think about me what you want. But I'll tell you what I do affirm. I affirm strong women. The problem with our society is weak men. But weak men, alongside of weak men, are weak women. It's cyclical, right? This weak woman who spreads her legs to find love in all the wrong places, that is weakness. That is not strength. We need strong women who believe in their beauty, who have a moral compass, who adhere to biblical principles. They think the West was won by, Sam Colt. What does it say? Sam Colt, God made all men. Sam just made, God made all men. Sam Colt just made them equal, type of thing. And what they're saying there is, this gun came and the West was won with a 6-shooter, right? No. The West was won in the Victoria era. There was a revival, and Christian women headed west, and these Christian women told these men, I am not going to have sex with you until you're married, and we will live for Jesus. I mean, these Christian women literally tamed these men, these barbarian men who we know we need women in our lives, and these women and their strength won the West. So speak strength into your wife. We need strength in our daughters and strength in our granddaughters. We need strength in them to stand up to college professors who will teach them an agenda that is not education. We need them to stand up when these young and horny high school kids want to get them in the backseat of their car. We need them to stand up when the world says that they can't do that job because they're a female. We need them to stand up and become the women that they need to be. And when they do that, they will make us better. But it's on you to affirm that in them. 4th thing is it's your job to affirm their value and their worth. It is your job to tell them you are worthy. You are worthy. You are valued. God, you are a queen. You are a princess. You are, for my wife, she's on my home screen and my lock screen on my phone. And that tells her, you are so valuable to me. And we just need them to know. This is one of my problems I have with these dudes that live together with their girlfriends before they get married. What they're essentially telling them is they are not valuable, and they're going to test drive the car before they buy it. And that is a lack of covenant. That is contractual and not covenantal, and that is not biblical, and it needs to be dealt with. And so women want to know their value and worth, which leads me to the 5th thing is this. The question that women ask constantly is this: am I enough? Guys, we ask this question. We ask, do I have what it takes? Women ask, am I enough? And it is your job as a man to affirm that yes, your wife is enough. Yes, your daughter is enough. Yes, your granddaughter is enough. In fact, they are not only enough, they are more than enough. And we need to do these things constantly. And here's one more thing I'm going to tell you guys. as you call the femininity out in your daughters and your granddaughters, one of the things, especially with daughters, is when daughters, and this is what I've heard from other men, I did not raise daughters, is that when their daughters reach puberty, these dads start feeling awkward. We live in this culture that says, where 1 out of 3 young ladies is sexually abused, 1 out of 3 or 4. And so when these women come into puberty, these younger daughters of ours, we tend to pull back and say, I don't want to be inappropriate. And I want to tell you something. That is a mistake. You need to give her love and affection and affirm her coming into womanhood. Because listen, bro, if you don't, remember that 16-year-old kid in the erection? That kid will. He will. It is your job. So guys, I beg you, don't pull away from your daughters as they come into puberty. Continue to affirm these 5 things: her uniqueness in creation, her beauty, her strength, her value, and that she is more than enough. Don't listen to culture. Don't follow their lies. You step up and be the godly man that the women in your life needs. Do not pull away. Reattach, engage, and be the man that God has called you to be. Guys, God has entrusted you with the hearts of a warrior queen, your wife, warrior princess, your daughter, and royal duchesses, your granddaughters. Do not shrink back. Hebrews 10:39 says, we are not of those who shrink back and are destroyed, but through faith are saved. And that is your job, guys, is to not shrink back, to engage and see the salvation of those you love, not only in this eternity, but in this life as well. Hey, guys, if you like this episode, do me a favor, guys. If you like this episode, go ahead and copy this link and text it to one of your bros. Let's keep growing this army of men. That's one small part that you can do for the kingdom if this podcast has helped you. Until next time, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. And be a man.